Hi, everyone. Thanks to Media Post for this. Is a great conference. Really appreciate everything for this week. My name is Paul Myers. I oversee all digital and social media marketing efforts at Hyundai. So the title of this is Test, Learn, Influence, Selling Innovation to Yourself. And part of this is really going to dive into, I've got 3 case studies, and it's really going to dive into learning from mistakes. It can be yours, they can be other brands' mistakes. But the reason why you learn and then influencing is really believing it in yourself, because you're the people within your organization that are really going to get these creative ideas across the line. So it really has to start with you. You have to believe the hype before anyone else in your organization is going to take your word for it and believe the hype. So as I get into this, I'm going to start with a little bit about Hyundai. So for those of you who have questions about how to pronounce the name of our brand in America, it's Hyundai like Sunday. We say that every time we brief an influencer, Hyundai like Sunday, so I'm briefing you guys here. Little known fact, Hyundai is a Korean word that means modern, and it's pronounced in unique ways all over the world. So that's why we have to be very clear about how we say it here. But going into the modern aspect, Hyundai has a very storied history in Korea and here in the States. And so instead of me talking about it, we actually produced a piece with Wall Street Journal and Leslie Odom Jr. That I want to bring up. But before I forgot about this one, this is our founder of Hyundai. From the beginning, the goal of Hyundai was to make a real difference in people's lives, doing whatever it takes to lift people in society. So this video actually shows what that really means and what has come to life because of this singular vision of the founder.
We're living on the cusp of an energy revolution. In the US, the federal government has set a goal for half of all new vehicles sold to be zero emissions capable by 2030. But delivering the future of mobility requires a commitment to innovation. As the 3rd largest automaker, Hyundai is leading that charge today. It's tackling climate change head-on by creating cutting-edge vehicles and working toward ambitious energy targets. But the story of Hyundai has always been about energy. Energizing vehicles, energizing people, and energizing a nation. When the Hyundai Engineering and Construction Company was founded, South Korea was a weary and war-scarred country. Before Hyundai built the cars it's known for today, it built the roads they drive on. That infrastructure literally paved the way for modern, connected South Korea. The founding of Hyundai Motor Company created jobs for thousands of Koreans. Soon, the company would reach people all over the world. It entered European markets and then the United States, where Hyundai saw an opportunity to make new cars more accessible to the average person. The design of electric vehicles, like the Ioniq 5, reflects Hyundai's dedication to powering the next step in mobility. With industry-leading hydrogen fuel cell technology, it's committed to developing new sources of clean energy. It's also made advanced safety features standard across its entire lineup, because well-being should never be determined by the size of your wallet. And its America's Best Warranty program comes standard on every new Hyundai, giving owners peace of mind as soon as they drive off the lot. In other words, it's always been about the drive for a better world, to serve society and fuel communities, to help people move seamlessly, sustainably, and with greater convenience. And it all started with the kinetic energy of one company's vision and a few miles of road.
Yeah, we love that video, and he does a much better job of explaining it than me. So happy to let him take that at every presentation. So what does that mean today for Hyundai's marketing efforts? Really, it comes around this one thing, which is Hyundai exists to make a richer journey possible for all. You heard him say it, like peace of mind shouldn't come with like the size of someone's wallet. Like we really are trying to democratize the things that should come standard to human beings. So what does that look like from emotional benefit? There's joy. Joy is our emotional benefit in every journey. So whatever journey you're on, Hyundai is there to be a part of the ride. And our goal as a company is to bring joy along the way. And this can come in a number of ways. A lot of them are through innovation. Some of them are through record setting. I'll go through some of these. This one's hard to read, but the joy of a wonderfully long warranty. You heard him mention it there. It's 10 years, 100,000 miles. It's still what people associate with our brand. When you buy the car, you get 10 years and 100,000 miles guaranteed. It does really offer peace of mind. This is a new one. The joy of buying a car like you buy everything else. We're the first automaker that will be available to purchase on Amazon, coming very, very soon. We announced it at the end of last year. These types of partnerships are really what we're putting together to push innovation, push the whole industry into taking a look at like what Hyundai is up to and what we're able to accomplish with our marketing efforts and partnerships like the one with Amazon. The joy of charging in under 20 minutes. So I was just chatting about this with Corey. We lead the industry in charge times. There are a lot of questions about EVs and like range anxiety still to this day, charging networks, all of that. We offer peace of mind and joy in road trips because when you stop at a fast charger, it only takes you 20 minutes to charge from 10% to 80%. So it's a quick way to keep the car moving and not be limited to the range of your vehicle. The joy of breaking records left and right. So if you guys have seen our Ioniq 5N, N is our performance division of the brand. It's been making crazy headlines. It's great from a PR earned perspective, but really we're also building stories around that. The car is not just loved by journalists. We want to make sure we prove its merits where the audience who's looking to buy a car like this cares. Like they're looking at Pikes Peak. This is from Pikes Peak this last year in Colorado. We broke a record for production EV. We beat Tesla Model 3, just shout out to that. And then we also beat the Rivian that was on the hill racing against us this year. So a big win. We will likely be back next year and the year after to keep breaking records. So this is it's a really big one that's impactful to a lot of people at Hyundai, at our brand. The joy of giving hope. Hope on Wheels is our charity for Hyundai. Every vehicle sold, a portion of those sales goes to fund pediatric cancer research. We've given over $250 million since it started 26 years ago. Yeah, it's just really something that the company believes in, and owners that know that this is sort of going to that cause, it really does sort of make you a part of it in a way, just being a Hyundai owner. So I will say it's something that a lot of people at our brand really care for. In September, it's even more relevant because it's Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month, so we're sort of in the month where a lot of the giving takes place. So definitely wanting to give this a shout out. So in other words, joy comes standard in every Hyundai. So that's sort of the brand message for those that maybe were unfamiliar with the brand today. Wanted to give you a picture before I dive into these social case studies that really pay off joy in a fun, creative way. It also pays off learning from other brands' mistakes and our own tests. But the way we set this up, social innovation within our organization and our agencies, I do want to give a shout out to Ocean and Canvas, who are our agencies of record for creative and media, respectively. There are 3 types of social innovation that we've looked at, and this really came as a result of, in 2022, 2023, platforms were just saying, like, feed the beast, make as much content as you can, get it out there, and we weren't seeing dividends. In fact, like, a lot of our engagement dropped, the views on our TikToks dropped, so we're like, how can we actually make more impactful moments that people care about? And we really leaned into innovation and opportunities for innovation. So the first I'll show you is one that's opportunistic, that really only involves the team at Hyundai and our creative team at Ocean. It's community manager driven. They're listening all the time on social media. Culture and trend driven. What's happening in social? What is relevant? And it's a low lift because I'll show you in this example coming up. There's really not a lot to it. Like, we can do it with a small group of working people. Manufactured is a mix of creative and our media teams. So the goal is brand awareness and reaching new audiences. And there's a medium lift because there's some coordination, there's some contracts that need to be done. There's an influencer that's involved in the example I'm going to show. And then planned, which is creative and media. This is a moment that we plan for. So it's something that we choose to do. And it's oftentimes built around relevant time, whether that's Super Bowl timing. The example I'm going to show you is because everyone was talking about NFTs in 2021. So I'm going to show you a little bit about what came as a result of that. But it's ownable moments. It's things that we can take as a brand and say, this is our moment to shine, and we're going to do something as a brand. And it's big lift, big impact, because it takes a big team at our creative agency. It takes a big team at our media agency to make sure people are aware of this. So just a delineation here. First, opportunistic. Who remembers Risa Tisa? Does anyone remember Risa Tisa and the TikTok saga of Who the F Did I Marry? It was a 52-part series on TikTok. Was a lot to take in. Shout out to our community managers because it was a very long story that was unfolding, and we had an opportunity to engage. So let me just give you a quick overview. I already mentioned his 52-part story here, but really it was about how the partner she met during COVID and ended up marrying deceived her. So she captivated a TikTok audience. One of the things she called out was that this partner of hers, she referred to as Legion, promised her a BMW, a blue BMW with a cognac interior. And our community manager was like, there's an opportunity here. Because we don't think BMW is actually going to do anything. And I'll get into that a little bit. So we started just in her comments, just replying. She started replying back. She started replying to ours as well. But before that happened, before we were able to really integrate, BMW did something interesting. They made her believe they were going to get her a car. So they posted, on our way, you can sort of see it there on the side. This is an influencer calling out BMW for not getting her a car, but on our way to find a dark blue BMW X5 with a cognac interior. So that TikTok was up for about 3 days and then was removed. At that time, Risa Tisa emailed me, and we ended up responding with Ready When You Are, with a picture of our Palisade, which is a little bigger than the X5, but we had a dark blue Palisade with a beige interior, ready and waiting for her when she was ready. So we made sure she was aware of that. We doubled down. I sourced the vehicle. It really all happened within a matter of 2 weeks, which in the car world is, I'll tell you, like that is fast. And in the meantime, she was sort of doing interviews on Good Morning America, and I had to make the case for why this was important for Hyundai. Why did this make sense to Hyundai? Because she didn't say Hyundai in any of her posts. But really, it's one of those things where this could enhance brand opinion and our social KPI goals, which on TikTok were video views and engagement. So that's really what we're looking at. TikTok was a priority for our brand, still is. And we're continuing to be involved in that platform. This was the biggest thing on TikTok for like a month, which is in TikTok world forever. And then cultural cachet. She was a social phenomenon. Again, she was in Good Morning America, Today Show, top stories for earned media headlines. And then Hyundai is the hero. It proves that we're listening to not just our customers, but potential customers. And we ended up seeing a lot of comments of people coming behind and saying like Hyundai did Risa right. So really, really cool to see. This was BMW. This is what I meant, learning from other people's mistakes. Whether that was, I don't know what happened at BMW, but clearly there was someone who intended to get her a car. It didn't happen. There were some communications internally, but the outfall of that was Ad Age writing articles, Wall Street Journal writing articles, because she was like, again, the biggest thing on TikTok. And Hyundai became the hero. She did this video when she received the vehicle, and she has a year-long lease of the car, just for those wondering what we ended up doing for her. She made this video about finding the one, which was all about, like, her audience was so leaned into this story because her whole saga was about, and we didn't ask her to do this, by the way. This was her creative she put out, and we said, we're getting you the car. You can do what you want. You don't even have to post. We just want to be there for you. So we said, you don't even have to post. And when I spoke to her, she's like, oh, I'm posting. You be sure, I'm posting about this. So it was one of those things where her tying this back to her story was more than we could have ever hoped for, because it was about her finding the one of her dreams, and it was our car. So I have this, I cut it because it was about 7 minutes.
I have, in fact, actually met somebody. It's new, but it is really, really exciting. And I'm gonna just be frank with you guys, just be transparent. One of the things that I really, really like about this individual is the fact that throughout all of this, they have really been supportive. They've been so kind. And just on this new journey, they have been a really, really great partner. And so I think it's only fair to give the flowers to someone that you care about while they are here. So, yeah, I'm really, really excited, a little giddy about it, but I am finally going to introduce you guys to someone that I think is going to be a very, very special presence in my life as I move forward. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce you to everyone. This is Lindsay. Lindsay is my 2024 Hyundai Palisade Calligraphy Edition.
So just so you know, she went on to talk about the car and she names all of her cars. So it's a little bit more about her, but I definitely wanted to share this because it was a very cool payoff at the end of some of the work the team put in. But again, opportunistic. No one was asking for that. We found it. We took the opportunity. That video itself has 4 million views, a ton of engagement. That really just cost me loaning her a car for a year. It's really pretty incredible. This next one, manufactured. Keith Lee, which I'm sure if you work in social, many of you know who Keith Lee is, and Hyundai. So again, another TikTok example, and I'll show you why here in a second. But it's all started with this picture actually here on Instagram. We didn't expect this either. So Keith Lee just posted, hey, I got a new car. And I'm like, that's a Palisade. So that's definitely very cool brand moment for us. But beyond that, we really took a notice and we commented. We basically made sure hey, he was aware that we knew he got the car. We reached out to him. But all of this, he's still an influencer. He's still someone who has built a TikTok following. We understood that. And I'll show you a video example, but we leaned into something called, there's a TikTok product called Creator-Led Package, and we bought it through TikTok directly. TikTok worked with Keith Lee, so that's why this one is more manufactured, because it involved a media team, contracting, ensuring what he's posting aligns with the brand and what our messaging is saying. But again, objective, I'll read through this. Drive awareness, consideration for Hyundai with creator-led content, highlighting the brand's It's Your Journey messaging, which you'll see how he paid that off in his video. The game plan, creator-led package, specifically identifying Keith Lee as our partner. He's known for honest reviews, so that was a big piece of this as well. And he chose the Palisade. That was big for a moment for us, like I mentioned. And the results, Hyundai utilized the creative and paid traffic, video view, reach objective ads. And we actually just stopped running the ad in July. So it was very, very good for us from a ROI perspective. I'll show you on the next slide. And then this is just a small one. CTR metrics outperformed industry benchmarks by over 80%. So I'm going to play this video.
This is the car that I eat food in. Today, it's a Hyundai Palisade. A few years ago, I was a delivery driver in a Hyundai Accent. Let's talk about it. From 2019 to 2022, me and my wife shared a Hyundai Accent, and I did everything in that car. Went to the gym, went to work, delivered food, delivered groceries, drove my first daughter home from the delivery room, everything. And that car got me everywhere I needed to go. It was so reliable, and it was great on gas. That's why when I was blessed enough to afford my first car off the lot, the Hyundai Palisade was a no-brainer. Just like the Accent is reliable and it's great on gas, but also the technology is amazing. The interior looks super dope. The driver and the passenger both have heated seats.
I didn't mention that those seats are also ventilated.
It's a heated steering wheel, and it comes with a third row. That's perfect for us because we got a big family. And these are just a few reasons of many that we are a Hyundai family.
He says, God bless at the end. I cut it a little too short. But what I'll say is he's in Vegas, And so that tag at the end, they're also ventilated, I forgot to mention. He's like, I got to call that out because it's hot here. So it's one of these things where we let him lean into why he chose the car, right? And why it's important for him and why this vehicle is a part of his journey. And he started perfectly, which is, this is the car I eat food in. So it ties back exactly to the type of content he was producing. And these are the results. Keith Lee traffic ads outperformed industry benchmarks, but also our other Hyundai ads at the time. It crushed it. Click-through rates versus other ads, 55% above benchmarks. Industry was 80% above benchmarks. Cost per click, very, very low. Throughout all of this, it was great. People were engaged. People were clicking through to the Palisade. VLP is what we call it, a vehicle landing page, taking high-value actions on the site all through this. In fact, people, and I wish we could have taken this the next stage, people were even saying, like, launch the Keith Lee edition Palisade. Like, that's how involved people were with this. 6-second view rate, 27% above Hyundai traffic, 93% above industry norms, and engagement rate. This is a big one for us for TikTok, 67% above our typical traffic ads, and 91% above industry benchmarks. So that's a big manufactured play, really cool. We're still in talks with Keith Lee. Stay tuned, we may be doing some more stuff down the line. Here's where we learned from ourselves, planned. We had a planned one earlier this year around Super Bowl that was a success, but I chose this one because it's really a long tail sort of learning process, and I want to share with you sort of what's going to come from it in the coming weeks. So this is sort of a sneak peek. Hyundai Santa Cruz and NFT. Quick setup. When we launched the Santa Cruz in 2021, that was at the New York Auto Show, people had been asking for this car for 5 years. We had done a concept car in 2015 before I was even at Hyundai. Everyone's like, when are you bringing the Santa Cruz? When are you bringing the truck? So when we announced that we were actually building this and making a production, it was already big news. But at the time, we're like, oh, what can we do that's maybe like new media? What can we lean into? And if you remember April of 2021, that's when the auto show was, NFTs were everywhere. It was like the buzzword, NFT, every marketing conference, everything was like, NFT, what are you doing in NFTs? Bored Apes launched in April of 2021. Like, this is the time. I just want to set that for you because we did a test, and it was a very small test of 10 NFTs that we gave away to rabid fans of the Santa Cruz. There's only 10. And they're out there. But now, today, the headlines are different. Crypto marketing firm, Jack Gamble actually estimates that 90% of NFTs on the market are now worthless. It's probably higher. It's probably 98, 99%, like realistically, which is kind of awkward because we gave away 10 Santa Cruz NFTs in 2021. So what does this look like for us today? The NFT trade-in. So in 2021, we gave away 10 Santa Cruz NFTs on social. So we're going to try and find those people. We're going to put it out there. Who's holding these? Who still has access to their digital wallet? Who's still involved or can prove that they have one of these? The first person that comes forward with it, the payoff will be pretty high because it'll be an actual physical Santa Cruz. So big win. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to make an announcement video. The goal is engagement. The goal is to get people sharing this out so we can find one of these 10 people and maybe they can find it on their phone. And we're also going to partner with creators on TikTok, Instagram, Meta, other platforms to really highlight the Santa Cruz, but then also to pay off this program and why we're coming back with NFTs. And our creative team said we're putting the fun back in non-fungible tokens. So that's what we're trying to do here in 2024. But again, you can learn from others in your industry. You can learn from yourself. The goal is to just keep testing, keep trying new things, and to know that your KPIs for success for all the people you're reporting up to. That for us, this is engagement. PR, potential earned media is big for this, specifically Santa Cruz. And then engagement is a like, comment, share, or save. That's for the conversation earlier on engagement, but this is how we're measuring on our side. But that's what I have for you today. Thank you so much. Appreciate the time.
You got to stay up there for a second.
Oh, yeah, questions.
Yeah.
I forgot.
We're going to ask questions. I'm going to come back over here in the back while I'm walking all the way over here. You guys spend a lot with TikTok, you're talking about as that channel. What about some of the other channels? What about YouTube? What about Instagram? What about some of the other areas? Are you also trying to lean in on those as well?
Yeah, great question. The example I actually didn't put in around Super Bowl was Instagram only, so meta-led. And our whole marketing campaign for the commercial, the TVC spot, was conquering the weekend. It was leaving your work behind and getting out there, right? So taking the Santa Fe, getting out there. That was the vehicle we were launching. So our Ocean creative team came to us with an idea of, it's called the Big Hyundai Handoff, where we sign off for the weekend and we let our partners and anyone who's interested in posting from Hyundai, our Instagram account, to do so for the full weekend of Super Bowl weekend. So we worked with these partners, and from basically Friday at 5 p.m. to Sunday evening at 10 p.m., we had different brands like NFL teams, the Chargers, Texans. There are some internal partners that we have. Super 73 was involved, Booking.com, Wiener Schnitzel. So it ran the gamut of brands that sort of wanted to come in and take over our account. We actually saw our engagement during that time. It was hit or miss on who was taking over our account. Some of them did really well. Some of them didn't reach as many people. We're essentially posting an incredible amount on Instagram, so the algorithm was trying to figure out what is Hyundai doing. But at the end of the day, what it did was, and this is like a unknown sort of output of this, it really spiked our follower growth for the next 3 months. So this happened in February. It was February to May. We were seeing crazy follower growth just from this, and I'm not sure how or why that happened. We have to meet with Meta to really dive into some of those metrics. But since that time, Instagram, Meta are due for another sort of big innovation moment because it's sort of plateaued. But I hope that answers your question.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hi, Vivi
Hi.
with GSD&M here in Austin. Love Hyundai, love my 2024 Hyundai Santa Fe.
Nice.
How are you, how is social media how are your metrics translated into sales? Question number one. And number two, how are you targeting the younger generation, Gen Z? And how are you approaching them and turning them into future customers?
Both great questions. So I heard earlier something about how all the company's problems are sort of passed off to marketing to solve. That's sort of what we're seeing too. I think the positive thing about Hyundai over the last 5 years or so is we've been on a meteoric climb, which is really awesome. The sales have not really been an issue for our organization. In fact, we have stretch goals within our organization that are really aggressive because we're really trying to push the envelope on sales. So to answer your question more succinctly, they're not directly tied from creative to sales, but we definitely, when we run ads, I was mentioning VLP, vehicle landing page, we're actually seeing who's taking high value actions, configuring a car, sending it to the dealer, who's doing those things, and then we can track back to where that initial hit was on social. So from an ads perspective, we are tracking it, but from a creative perspective, we're just trying to do the most innovative things in the industry. Gen Z, very great question. One of the first things I did when I came on board at Hyundai, this is 2019, I said there are 2 platforms that we have to be on that Hyundai was not on. It was TikTok and Twitch. And the reason for those things was TikTok was just in its infancy. They didn't even have ads back then. But I recognized who was on it, and I recognized those are future buyers for Hyundai. Twitch, huge gamer population. We've done a couple tests on Twitch. We're getting there with Twitch. TikTok, we've really taken it in stride and made it a priority channel pretty quickly. We launched there doing a Super Bowl effort in 2020 and then continued on from there and have made it basically neck and neck with Meta as far as spend, as far as creative effort. And that's why you saw some of the ideas here were TikTok focused.
Got one more question right here.
Hey, Mike from Tunnel. Great presentation, and congrats on all the success.
Thanks.
So I know you highlighted BMW as kind of a negative PR case to learn from. Are there other aspirational brands, whether it be in auto or other verticals, that you're looking at for social?
That's a great question. Actually, it's not just even the auto vertical. Pretty early on, I set on with my InOcean agency team something called social inspiration meetings. And it really was derived from everyone's algorithm is different. Like that Risa Tisa story, it never would have hit my algorithm. My algorithm's like collecting cards and cars. Like it's like I'm never going to get a story about someone's relationship. So it really offers the opportunity for us to come together as a creative team and unit to say like what's going on here, what worked, what was a fail, is there something we can learn or lean into, is there a trend that we can look and say how does this translate to Hyundai. So that's really how we're learning regularly. I think the thing to counteract there is after the pandemic, everyone's like, oh my gosh, another meeting. But what I found is like people are bringing some really great stuff to the table and we're innovating because of it. It's not just like a meeting where like, okay, thank you for coming, on to the next. We're creating content from those meetings, which if you follow us on TikTok, you'll see some of that. A lot of those creative ideas and videos on TikTok are coming directly from those meetings. Yeah.
All right, one more right here.
Great presentation. I'm curious to know, given that...
Remind us who you are.
Hi, I'm Sid. I'm the comm strategy lead at W Promote. I'm curious to know, given how agile social is, what's your level of collaboration with, let's say, your media team on a scale of 1 to 10? And what would you like to see more in terms of collaboration and cooperation?
I think it's at like an 11, to be honest with you. Like I'm overwhelmed with how much collaboration is actually happening with the team size that I have internally at Hyundai. But it's great. I'm actually going directly from this to a media partnership event at iHeartRadio in Las Vegas. And that was derived from 3 years of like working together. How can we make this better? How can we make this bigger? We're doing an EV road trip from Las Vegas or from LA to Las Vegas to pay off some of the things I mentioned earlier, like debunking, charge time, anxiety, range anxiety, all of that. And internally, we have a media strategy team. So creative performance sort of onto, wavelengths, but we meet every day, like honestly. Oh, okay, great. We meet every day, to be quite frank, internally, and then we have standing meetings with the agencies. So, yeah.
All right, let's give Paul a nice round of applause.